You're listening to Freaky Folk from the West Coast and beyond. This is Psyched Radio San Francisco. I have with me in the studio a special guest. Marta, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, I'm Marta Alvarez. I'm in the band Pure Hex.
You want to talk about Pure Hex for a minute? Tell
Sure.
us about your band.
We are a somewhat shoegaze band, shoegaze adjacent
Shoegazy.
band. We're a gazy band from the Bay. We all live in the Bay Area. We're all from the Bay.
Yeah, you just told me you were in Berkeley, and that's cool because, the Bay kids all got to stick together. I'm from Marin myself.
Yes, it's fun. A lot of the band is from the East Bay, like San Ramon, Dublin area. And everybody's still local, which is fun. We play local a lot. We have some new music coming out. We're in a release cycle currently for an album that's coming out in May. We're around. Check us out.
Well, how did it all come together, like from the beginning?
So originally Pure Hex was called Stranger, and it was a three-piece group. Our guitarist, Zach, and a different drummer and bassist. It was like kind of a instrumental, like heavy shoegaze project that they had. I think they played a few shows like that. And
this was an East Bay band, right?
I think they were in San Francisco at that point.
Oh, they were in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And then Hussein, our guitarist, joined, and then I ended up joining. So then we wrote an EP in that iteration, our first EP. We changed our name to Pure Hex as we were putting that first record out. And then we ended up having John join as a drummer. We put another record out in 2022 or what? I can't think now what year it was.
Well, those years kind of blended together in a really odd way. I think that is the experience most of us had.
Yes.
Because
It's
I
a
feel
blur.
like 2020 I was mostly inside and just craving going out to see live music again. And I remember the first show I went to was at Bottom of the Hill after the thing. Well, I remember my last show was also. I remember my last show in February before the lockdowns happened was at Amnesia, and I saw Sandy's play, and that was so fun.
That's cool.
And it was one of the last shows that, Amnesia was going to close already, and so it was like one of the last shows that Amnesia was even ever going to have. And so there was this vibe that everything's shutting down already. That vibe was already there.
Little did you know
that it was
going to really shut down.
Much greater level. And then my first one after it was at Bottom of the Hill, and that was, I forgot what band it was, but I was just so happy to be there.
I remember that getting a notification that I think the CDC or somebody was like, there's not going to be any more live music until the fall of 2021, and being like, no, there's no way.
Fuck you, CDC.
I
Suck
like,
my ass.
That sounds crazy. I can't even fathom that. And then truly the first show back, the first show that I think I went to and the first show that we played was in the fall of 2021. So it was very true.
Did you spend a lot of that time practicing, or just like getting together and making new content up, or just honing your own craft, or just...
I mean, there was a time I feel like the beginning of the pandemic was so gnarly. I mean, we didn't really know what the hell was going on. I lived with my parents, and I was living with my parents at the time, and I was very anxious about getting them sick, and we didn't know really what COVID was. So it was this weird, I don't know, very isolated time. So it took us some time to get together. And that's when we wrote Still Dark. So that record kind of came out of that time. And then also during the pandemic is when Ian ended up moving to LA. He had a baby. So then Luke joined the band around the time we put out that record. So we kind of had like an off moment that we were like, oh, what's going to happen to the band? Like, are we going to be able to do this still? And then we like kicked back into gear and wrote and recorded a record.
I find that, there was a lot of bands that kind of formed at that time, or at least honed their craft really well, and have this is blossoming, I think, in the Bay Area of really amazing talent because of those years.
Dude.
And I think it's like, it was a not gonna say side effect, but it was a, something that happened afterwards that was a cause, I think.
The explosion of the local music scene since COVID has been amazing to be part of. It's so cool. It's crazy hearing people talk about it in all different scenes, all different ages. Like, people are seeing just really great music happening and just fun shows, and the scene is fun. Everybody's like kind of locked in and doing their thing. All my friends are putting out records right now, and it's really exciting to be part of it.
Nice. Can you shout out some bands that you know that are definitely worth checking out, that have released some nice stuff recently?
Yeah, I mean, putting out music right now, Nico Pena, I think he's on the radio right now talking about his record that came out, I think last week, 2 weeks ago. He has a release show on the 17th, which is the day our record is coming out. So it's all happening at the same time. I'm trying to think who else is putting out new music right now. My brain is going. You
gotta have blank. Like a joined event if you're all releasing something at the same day.
I know.
Just gotta have
we should have coordinated that.
A release date.
We'll just like go celebrate each other's records separately and then high five each other a lot.
What? How long have you individually been playing? And like, where did you get to? Where
like
you are?
Music?
Yeah.
I've been like wanting to sing in a rock band since I was of talking age. So
musical household
forever. My parents don't play music, but they're both artists. And I remember watching The Little Mermaid when I was a kid, and I think I used to walk around singing like that, whatever she was singing on the beach, kind of thing. And I just wanted to sing in a band. So I've been playing in bands since I was a kid. And I think actually multiple of my bandmates have been in bands since they were like children. We're all aspiring rock stars since we were kids.
I was an aspiring rock star for a little bit in high school, and then that quickly fizzled out once I went to college. I think I spoke a little bit about that, but that I was distracted by other things. It was a time in my life where there was a lot of different things happening. That's cool. And so about Pure Hex, you said it was like a shoegazy sound, but can you describe that to people who don't know what that means?
Yeah. So shoegaze gets its name because there's so many effects pedals on the instruments that the guitarists are staring at their feet the whole time. They're gazing at the shoes. We have many pedals on stage. Everybody has pedals, an inordinate amount of pedals, I would say. So shoegaze music has a lot of effects. It can be droney. There's like a wall of sound that usually comes out of shoegaze music because there's so much going on and it's loud and very affected. And there's also like, a dreaminess and an ethereal quality, reverb. There's a floatiness to it. And I say we're shoegaze adjacent because we're influenced by shoegaze music. It feels also silly to like claim being shoegaze. Like, can you even claim that?
I think you can if you realize you spend an inordinate amount of money on pedals, or just
maybe. Then maybe I can't claim that because I only have one pedal, but maybe my bandmates can.
Well, maybe they spend a lot on there. So how would you say, like, for venues that you like to visit in the Bay, or even outside, that you like?
Well, I want to shout out Neck of the Woods. We played there last night. Danny, the booker there, is the coolest guy.
They got 2 rooms, right?
They have 2 rooms. We played upstairs. They are very supportive of local music and just having good shows. And it's fun to be in a setting that is just appreciative of good music and like putting on a good event. Bottom of the Hill, same thing. I love working with them. We love playing there. We're going to play our album release show there at the end of June, on June 29th. Let's see. I'm trying to think.
Bottom of the Hill was like one of the first venues in San Francisco I ever visited when I was a minor. I think I was 16 years old. I first went there. And I was so nervous. There were so many adults in there, and I was like, oh my God, I feel very nervous. I don't know, 2005 or something. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's such a cool spot. I think I played there with my summer camp in 6th grade. That's like our showcase for Girls Rock Camp was at Bottom of the Hill.
Oh, that's so cool. They do that for people. That is so cool. They make that happen for minors. At least they provide a really awesome environment to make that happen.
That's like real rock star shit there. I also love Stork Club in Oakland. We played there recently as well.
That place is beautiful.
It is.
What they did with it is amazing.
It has some Twin Peaks vibes going on with the red curtain. There's a lot of good music there. It's pretty fun. And also like Cornerstone is popping into my head. Have you ever been to a show there?
I went to see Range of Light Wilderness and the Donkeys there.
That's cool.
Years ago, like 2018 or something. And that, unfortunately is one of the last times that I was able to see Range of Light Wilderness before they broke up, really. But that was an awesome place to see. I almost went there to see an Andre Nicotina show, but I decided against it. Like, that would have been fun, though.
The room gives a little bit of school gym because it's so big and square, but, like, we've had good sound when we've played, and the people there are really nice. And, they're also real ones, like having a conversation with management about how they support bands that are touring was cool. I think that, like, the people running a venue and the vibe that they set is, like, really important. It matters a lot when we are playing.
And so I wanted to ask also, do you have a memorable experience of something that happened during one of your events or one of your shows?
I have a lot of memorable experiences. Let's see.
Do you want to do maybe a positive one and a not so positive one?
I think that, like, they're mostly positive. I'm gonna keep it positive.
All right, keep it positive.
I think that, like, something that comes to mind, and this isn't even really that specific of a time, but I remember, like, we've had times when we're playing in other states in these little shows. I'm thinking, like, we played a shoegaze festival called Tremolo a couple years ago in Seattle, and we, we're from the Bay. We're not from Seattle, and we were, like, headlining the thing, and we were like, oh, we don't know anyone here. And, like, we had people that came that we didn't know that came to see us because they liked our music. And, like, when that happens in cities that we, especially out of state cities, but, like, places that are not the Bay, and we have some people that are like, I drove, like, an hour or whatever to come see you because I just love you. It's like, what do you mean you came to see us? Like, there's something really cool about that interaction, and it feels really special because, you love music, like, I love music. We have these musicians that, like, they write these songs that mean so much to us, and when people come to your show and, like, are, like, obviously connecting with the songs that you are performing, there's something really, really cool about that. It's happened a couple times, and I mean, it's probably happened more than once, but I'm thinking there's a few times that I've been like, oh my god, I can't even believe.
Yeah.
How did you know about us?
Yeah.
I always ask people, how did you find out about us?
I feel like with certain, like, local bands, I feel like I know a lot about them an inordinate amount, more than I should, and I'm just, like, nervous about introducing myself or introducing, like, how I know them. I just kind of, like, stick to myself and don't really talk to a lot of people at shows just because I'm shy and just because I'm nervous.
I get shy too. I get shy for sure when I go to shows, but then when people come and talk to me at my shows, I'm like, oh man, it's so cool. Yeah. I should probably say hi to people more when I go to theirs.
Usually, I feel like it makes more sense to me to describe it like, oh, I don't want to bother you. You have a lot of people to see. You're probably getting your head in the game and you're trying to, get ready for your performance. You don't want to talk to anybody. So usually I just kind of, like, stay away from people even afterwards. I would say, how do you think Pure Hex's music has evolved since you've begun?
I mean, I think it's evolved a lot. Sonically, it sounds really different than it used to. I mean, the EP is shoegaze. It's, like, the vocals are low in the mix. Like, it has these lo-fi qualities to it. And the new stuff is a lot more, I think it's more complex. The vocals are, like, have more clarity. They're more present in the mix, and there's, like, kind of more sparsity in terms of what's happening. I feel like this songwriting has gotten more mature. So, not that those songs were immature, but, like, there's an evolution of sound that's happened between our first and second, and now this record, which is fun to look back on. I love everything that we put out, so it's cool to feel like, oh, and here we are now. And I remember putting out Still Dark and feeling like so proud of it and being like, how are we gonna like up this? And now putting out this record, I'm like, we did that. It feels like we did what we needed to do.
How has your recording methods changed since the EP days?
When we recorded our EP, we were at Decibel in the city. We did it like a live recording. And then Corey Kaufman, who has produced all of our stuff, mixed that EP. And then when we did Still Dark, we actually flew out to Colorado and recorded that.
Oh, really?
With Corey.
Oh, nice.
He's in Loveland. Actually,
okay.
He's in Fort Collins now, but we recorded that in Loveland. And then we did the same thing with Spilling, which is the record that's coming out this month. We went back out, spent some time, like 2 weeks in Colorado, recording. Everything happens piece by piece. It's cool to watch like 13 songs come together over the course of 2 weeks. I mean, really, like the first 3 days of recording was just drums, and John like practiced everything only to a click. So there was nothing happening except John drumming to a click.
Just like a metronome, that's it?
Yes. I kid you not, like 10 hours a day for 3 days. And it was insane. And also we're in high altitude. All of us were like losing our minds a little bit. It was like only drums. It was so, I mean, he's amazing at drums. So it was really cool to like, there's something about like breaking down the recording process and seeing everybody do their thing individually, like putting so much appreciation on that person and the part that they are playing and their skills and like what they wrote and how they're contributing to the song. So special. So that was crazy to experience that.
Well, have you ever had any like operational challenges for as a band? Like, have you ever had to like overcome like something that was a significant problem?
I think the biggest challenges have been like people leaving the band and replacing them with other people. I mean, that's always kind of an unknown, right?
Life gets in the way.
Life happens. It's a commitment to be in a band. You're like in a relationship with 5 people almost. I mean, you're like you guys are committed to something that you're working on together. It's like a group project, and like everybody has to be available and like showing up. And also like you can't half-ass writing music. I mean, you can, but it's gonna show. So totally understandable when things happen and life happens. And then I think when someone leaves a band, you're like, oh, how are we gonna adapt to this change? Because everybody that we've played with has had such a big impact on our songwriting and our sound. So then when you put a new person in, it totally changes that. It's been great. I love everybody that we've ever played with, and I also love, I don't know, it's been cool having new people come in and seeing how the songwriting changes and how the songs change.
When someone leaves, and I've always been curious about this, is the process just like, here's the the departing member's parts, and can you learn this or like memorize it?
Yeah.
Or is it just like we're reworking this?
I think it's been, I think they've learned the parts that the other person wrote and done. They probably have made changes to them. Mm-hmm. To be honest, I'm not sure what you know what? Here's what my guess would be, given that I have not replaced anybody on drums or bass in this band. I think they like learned the parts. I'm sure that's hard. There's a level of intimidation I think that comes with like, you need to learn the parts that somebody else wrote, and you're playing with this band and they're kind of like checking your vibe and like, can you hang with the songs?
Can you keep up, buddy?
Right. And they totally did. And then like, I think over time they put their own spin on it, because everybody has different styles of playing. So things have probably evolved as they've changed, and as different people have joined and then became comfortable with the parts. And then when you write more songs, it morphs more, and then that adds to the sound changing.
A new blood puts in a new, maybe stylistic changes to it.
Exactly.
And affects everybody's sound.
Yeah.
So like some of that you can see with bands that like are on the road for a long time, and you just see a lot of differences between their first stuff and their new stuff.
Dude, and not to mention like personality changes, like the group personality dynamics change too, and that affects how you get business done, because let's be honest, we're kind of essentially running a business is what it feels like sometimes. And like when you're on the road, like when you're interacting with you're basically living together for however long in a van. Like there's dynamics that come into play.
I was about to say how that works. Like usually, like, the worst thing that could possibly happen is your van gets broken into and your stuff gets taken.
Oof. Let me knock on wood.
Let's find some wood here.
Oh,
but like,
man.
Has anything like that ever happened, or someone close to you?
Yeah. We went on tour with our good friends Ridgeway in 2020, and their van got broken into in Portland. I think they lucked out in some respect because not all of their things were taken. It was like some personal stuff and like a guitar, and they were able to replace it. And then my friend's van recently, that happened to them. I think their whole trailer got taken. I see it happen a lot. It's actually really sad, and it's hard because, like, let's be honest, nobody has any money. Like, everyone's out there, like, going broke in whatever vehicle they're in.
You just gotta avoid some cities, you just gotta skip Portland.
But the thing is, like, no, you're not gonna avoid the cities. Like, we live in the Bay. Like, that shit happens all the time out here, and, like,
that's
true. No one's gonna avoid the Bay. How could you do that?
How can you do that?
You have to be really smart, and you need to be really aware of your shit, and sometimes that's not even enough. So there are dangers in being on the road for sure.
Yeah, in the Bay we are lucky to have a bunch of local amazing talent, and yeah, we are a destination for a lot of folks. And like, Oakland's cool too. Like, there's a bunch of cool stuff happening out there. What do you think about the current state of local music in the Bay Area?
Dude, it's so good.
Trends or changes?
Oh man, I just feel like we're in the right place at the right time. Like, I'm constantly in such admiration of all my friends that are musicians, and all my friends in general, but like, there's so much good music happening, and I feel like I'm a live sound engineer, so I'm at shows a lot, and I'm always impressed by like the range of stuff that I'm able to experience, and and then I'm always seeing my friends from different bands at these shows supporting each other, and it feels really cool. Someone said like there's a renaissance happening, and that word renaissance like always sounds dramatic to me, but then I'm like, fuck it, dude, let's be a little bit dramatic. We're artists here. This is cool.
We're all theater
We're
art
having
kids.
A good time.
Yes, that's so funny. Yeah, I would say that's a good assumption to say. I really like going out and spending my money on tickets to live music and just finding interesting, cool new stuff all the time. I'm really lucky that I live in West Portal now, and I'm able to easily go visit places like the Chapel or Kilowatt, or even Café du Nord, which is even closer to me, but I never show up there. But like, these places are just really accessible to me without a car. And I'm just like,
that's great.
Why not?
And when you're buying tickets and going to see your friends at those shows, you're like directly supporting them, especially at smaller venues. Keep going to small venues and supporting your friends. It is everything. We need to keep the small venues alive. Not to get on my soapbox
it up. Let's get soapy.
I feel like it's a hard time to be a venue. I mean, we are seeing what's happening with like Live Nation and Ticketmaster and big corporate things, and I'm just like, the small venues that are out here like riding for local music are so important to keep going. So go to shows and buy tickets and buy drinks, alcoholic or not, and just be there.
I think it's amazing that despite all of the outside forces grinding against the creativity of the Bay Area, they're still here. You get crazy amounts of talent still here, making it, surviving off of nothing. Like, it's you can't kill them. You can't kill these local bands, dude.
Well, dude, in the end, like, music is not fueled by money. It's fueled by like soul. I mean, music comes out of like every single corner of humanity, so you can't fucking beat it down. Sorry.
You can't beat it down. It's always gonna live. It's always gonna outlast you. Can you share with me any kind of funny or interesting anecdotes, like from the road, that you'd like to share?
Let me think really quick. I should have like prepared what I was gonna say to this question.
It's okay.
The road gets chaotic, man.
Yeah, there could be any number of things that could happen on the highways.
Yeah, I feel like there's always like you hit this like marathon point where you're just going and going, and then you become kind of nocturnal. We played a show on the last tour we went on. We did a show that was in slow, and I think we played one song before the cops came.
No.
And we were all sitting.
I'm guessing this was some kind of house party.
It was a house party. We were outside. It was like about to be so fun. Like the crowd's getting into it. We're like about to really get it going, and then it's like the cops are outside, and we were like, "What is this? Like, what do you mean the cops are outside? Like we're chilling in the yard." I don't know. It's slow, and like we were all like sitting in this yard silently, like a yard full of people, and like they were like doing the quiet coyote like the hand signal so that everyone would be quiet. And I remember someone started reading like to the crowd out of a book. I don't remember what he was reading, poetry or like Marx or something,
some manifesto.
It was very like college. Yeah,
a lot of Cal Poly students.
Yeah, it was.
Yes.
And we were so bummed because it was about to be so good, and we had to stop the show, which the people there tried so hard. Honestly, they were rocking. It was gonna be a great show if the cops hadn't ruined it. And then we had to go down. I think our next show was gonna be in like Orange County or LA or something. So we were like, well, let's just drive all the way there. And then like we all decided to go to Denny's. We were at Denny's. Like there was 12 of us because we were with another band, Ridgeway. And it was like midnight. We were just talking about this. We were like, why did we go to Denny's for like 2 hours and have this meal? And then we drove all the way to Orange County, and it was like foggy, and we were driving through the mountains, and we were listening to a podcast about Cocteau Twins, and like, you know, one of us is driving, two of us are trying to stay awake, and like two of us are just passed out in the back. And we were like, sometimes you wonder how we make it from point A to point B. I think the driving can get really gnarly, and you just become nocturnal. You
do a 3-hour nap in the van, and then your sleep cycle's different than everybody else's. And I bet, you know, the longer you're on the road, the more chaotic it becomes. And then who's awake now? You're driving next, like that kind of thing.
Totally. I'm a morning person, weirdly, so it's an adjustment for me.
I am a morning person too, and I'm in bed by 10 all the time. But it's just my life now. And I just want to say, do you have any like aspirations as to where you want to go from here, or is there like anything that you're trying to pursue, or is it just let's see the course, see where this takes us?
I think there's some amount of like let's see where this takes us, but also, I mean, we're gonna put this record out. We're putting this record out in 2 parts. So the first half is coming out in May, and the second half is coming out in January. Is what I've planned for.
So it's a 2-parter.
It's a 2-parter. It's a double LP. When the full thing is out, we're gonna have like a gatefold vinyl, and it's gonna be like a big ass concept album in your hands. But right now we're like giving it out in pieces.
Is there gonna be some really amazing artwork in there too?
Yes, I'm so excited. It's all gonna be connected. I think we're kind of like, you know, parsing it out to people a little bit right now. It's like already looking cool, but like when the full thing is out, it's all gonna be connected, and I'm excited about that. So, you know, putting the album out in this way is kind of an experiment. We want to see how that, you know, turns out. But also, like, you know, we're small. We're like from the DIY scene. Like, we book our own tours. We book our own shows locally. We're like running our own social media. We're doing like all these things, and it's like feels so much like shots in the dark a lot. We have a lot of really cool friends around us that can give us advice, and like great collaborators. Our label, Neon Bloodbath, is awesome. But you know, we're like, who knows how to do this stuff, honestly. Like, you have to make it happen yourself. So yeah, I have goals. I want to tour more. I want to tour, you know, all over the US. We've mostly done West Coast stuff. I want to tour outside of the US. Like, I want to play shows far and wide for people that are, you know, people that don't know us yet, maybe.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I know this one shoegaze band from Czech Republic called Man and Mir, and they are very cool.
Let's
very
go
cool.
to the Czech
Yeah, you should
Republic.
check it out, because they've heard of shoegaze out there. So
Yo.
definitely go check it out.
One of our songs like popped off in Finland for 1 week. It like was big in Helsinki, and we were like, "What's going on? Like, can
That's
we go
the
to
name of the
Finland?"
next album, Big in Helsinki.
Dude, let's go.
So the album is called
It's called, the first half is called Spilling,
Spelling.
and the second half will be called Five of Tears.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's released at what dates?
May 17th is when the first one comes out.
Cool.
And we're not even going to worry about the second half yet. We're just going to focus on this.
Cool.
May 17th.
And then your next appearance?
Well, we have a little listening party in Berkeley on May 18th at a t-shirt shop on University Avenue. It's like right across from the UC Theater. It's a pretty cool spot. We're going to listen to the album. We're going to like eat tacos and hang out. And
Awesome.
just have a grand old time. Our next local show is going to be our album release show, and that's at Bottom of the Hill on June 29th. And we're playing with Wander and Mint, who are both awesome local bands, and Zach Rodell is doing visuals, which is...
That's my buddy.
It's going to be fun. And then, you know, we're going on tour, so we're leaving in 2 weeks, and we're going to do a little like West Coast plus a couple other spots.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So they could find that information, I guess, on your Instagram.
Instagram is the way. That is where
Yeah.
I am saying what we do all the time.
Yeah.
Find us. Our Instagram is Pure Hex Band.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Marta, thank you. You're listening to Freaky Folk from the West Coast and Beyond. This is Psyched Radio San Francisco. Thank you for listening.